Hi, Ben. This is Vita from
Hey,
San Leandro.
how you doing?
First, I want my condolences to your loss and your family.
Thank you.
And I really appreciate you. I missed you on the while you were gone because one of the things that I didn't would like for you to dig a little deeper in is President Obama did that town hall meeting.
Yep.
It was just horrible to me, and it didn't address the issues about the police reform.
Yep.
Because every time that you hear the talking points from all the different stations that they do, they never dig down and talk about the first thing that needs to be done is the accountability part. Because even if you have cameras and that part, that's not going to do anything. They need to deal with the contracts and that part. And also the federal government can also, they already have a law on the books where they're supposed to, it's mandated that they're supposed to collect the data already.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you look at it, even if they collect the data, police departments can screw their data because they can put different categories and so forth and change stuff. But when I go back to look at, I sent you an email about Dr. Khalil Muhammad has a new book about how data lies, and it talks about how the criminology how it started and how they keep perpetuating it, and even and how they believe when they see African Americans that we're just automatically criminalized.
Absolutely.
But it's a pattern that they do. And I think we need to, if you could just educate people more in your atmosphere, because you have a great reach to more people to understand how data is used for good and bad, and whatever you want the outcome to come, even with the political polling and stuff that they use. Because for 55 years, at least 30 years of my life, I've never got a phone call, even when I had a landline or even the mobile thing and the polls that they use.
Yeah. And
then also we need to start holding the Democratic part of the DNC about the voting. And not so much the suppression that the Republicans done in the 31 states, but the own Democratic Party has not put any funding into fighting against the laws in each state. That then we go into the general election, then they wonder why the voting is low. But see, like when Hillary did, like my California primary vote that I did, I called in, I used my stubs for my ballot.
Yep.
They cannot tell me whether or not my vote was counted still today in California. That's kind of hard to accept to vote. And they cannot tell you, Alameda County cannot tell me whether or not my vote has even been counted.
Yep. And to be honest with you, you said, thank you for that call, because you actually bringing me back to some points that I wanted to make. Some important things that you're saying. It's, we have to hold the Democratic Party accountable. And I think that's something that anyone who's ever watched me for any amount of time, that's something I've been harping on for a very long time. Thanks for the call. So we do have to hold them accountable. However, I think some people mistake holding, here it is. This is what it is. I think people on both sides of the left-leaning spectrum in America feel as though if you take the time to address something other than what they deem important, then you are a distraction. And this is what I mean by that. I've always said hold the Democratic Party accountable. But at the same time, I am not required to ignore the idiocy that I see from the right. I can't. It's impossible for me to ignore the idiocy and the bigotry that I see on the right, because if I'm going to take the time to call it out on the left, you sure as hell know I'm going to call it out on the right. But for some reason, a lot of progressives, and particularly Bernie Sanders supporters, feel that, oh, you're talking about Trump now. What did you think? Did you think I was going to actually not say something about Donald Trump? Me going against Donald Trump does not mean that I support Hillary Clinton, because if I was in a red state, I would have a purple state, a swing state, I would have a day of reckoning. because I guess, because of my personal convictions, whether or not I would vote for Hillary Clinton. I'm in Massachusetts, so I can vote my conscience. You could read between the lines, right? So I can vote for what I think is the right person for me to vote for, right? But me pointing out the problems with Donald Trump does not mean that I'm supporting Hillary Clinton. And me saying something, critiquing Hillary Clinton doesn't mean that I support Donald Trump. If you get tired of people telling you that, oh, you're attacking Hillary Clinton, therefore you're supporting Donald Trump, then you should understand when I tell you guys, please chill the hell out. Me pointing out the truth about Donald Trump is not supporting Hillary Clinton. Because as I have always said, we have to hold the Democratic Party accountable for what they've done just as much as we hold any other party accountable for what they did.